All right, let's do this. Super excited. All right, Marino. Talk about find new sticker, little visual hierarchy. It doesn't look as bad as it did on the screen. A little space here. Drop that down a little bit in prominence. Talk about making this into graphics. I think it'd read a little bit faster and communicate the same information. Plus bow. Something I didn't really pay attention to during class. I don't understand what plus bow pump snap. It snaps in, I got it. Not aesthetic, I agree. Front heavy, okay, double rainbow. It's like you're giving me two bits of information. One is more about the aesthetics, and the other one's about functions. Maybe I like what I said during class, although I don't exactly remember what I said. Competition, existing products, something like that. What I'd like to do is identify the opportunities from this. So based on what's in the market, what can you improve upon, be they aesthetic or functional? Then this guy, that was the biggest discussion, in that it's just a bit more difficult to read what you're trying to communicate here. These tell me distance just by my previous knowledge with seeing blasters like this. What I want you to show is something like this guy, right? Human forms. The thing is, I like being in context with what you're doing here. It's just the darts aren't the context that I want. We're talking about people and the things they want in the blasters. So what I'd want you to try is simple human figure, a silhouette, add, go back one page, a blaster, still, I guess it could be same color as a silhouette, or it could be a different color, but the thing is, I want it different. So a certain number, 2 out of 3, 6 out of 10 will be the same, and then do a grayer, more transparent version to show me that it's not complete. It's a fraction. It's a percentage. All right, form definition. The first thing that I look at is here, typically highest contrast, and you got like this white on black on pop color. Constructing a PDF booklet and parts of instructions allow the build to be repeatable and mass produced by other enthusiasts. I like if you've done this. It's just hard for me to appreciate it presented in this this form. I'd rather see a sequence of use. So somebody looking online, like a computer that I'm looking at right now, they see them, they print them, they lay them out on a desk, and then they're cutting. That shows me that it is repeatable or replicatable by other enthusiasts. This doesn't do as much. So this is the first thing I see. Then secondly, form definition. It is form definition, but I would not say it's form exploration. I do like 1-to-1 scale model. This, I don't know what it is, and this is too transparent for me to understand what you're trying to communicate. This kind of works because you're going from a 2-dimensional to a 3-dimensional. I think that's valid. Excuse me. So maybe blow these up, but keep not so wild about showing a different formation. Refinement. I do like the callouts. Similar with the leaders on previous pages, make that line lighter. It still needs to give me definition, but it's sneaking up into the secondary, and really it's a tertiary. I don't read any of this, so unless you can shorten it up, bold it, or give me another reason to look at it, it's not doing you any good. I'd rather blow this guy up and then add another call out than write me a paragraph. I see that you're making something here, but along with the PDF parts booklet, step-by-step guide, you told me about that earlier. Instead of telling me twice, just do one good job of it. Final details. Once again, I'm not going to read. I'm looking for this information here. So bolding could be a solution. Let me see. I do want to see it bigger. I don't see it till here. Where's a hero shot? I'd like a close up to, like, this doesn't have much to do with anything, right? I'd like you to be more honed in here. Maybe a call out, make a black transparent background that we could write information, or maybe we could write information here. The page just feels dead. There's got to be another way to add more value, more contrast. Right, I like what you're doing. It just, in comparison to all other pages that are full of color, this lacks a lot of life. Idea 1, fill the back of the circle with color and let the white vector things be white. You might need to increase the forgot what it's called, line thickness. So 3-line weight. It looks like a 2-line weight, but if you do a different color in the background, you might need to pop it so it comes in forward a little bit. If possible, you see how your horizontal gutter and your vertical, I'll call it a gutter too, are different sizes. Try to keep these even. It could be my monitors off, but try to keep those the same. And personally, I like a page where you go over all the details, and then a page that's all hero shot. Because I keep on looking at you in this photo, and it really is about this. But these kind of isolate my attention, where this one doesn't. I kind of get up in here where that reflection is. All right, I hope it clears things up. I think you're getting there. It's the first time ever dealing with, well, personally ever dealing with one of these projects. So it's interesting trying to think of how to sell it the best way possible. Definitely pumped the fact that you've got an award from it and specify that it's outside the studio project. You took it on by yourself. Okay. I'd like to show a little bit more visual hierarchy here. How big of a brand is Tom Buckbee? Right now they kind of they draw the same amount of interest. I'd either blow Tom Buckbee up a little bit and then not minimize that, but make it secondary, or maybe reverse that out, right? Where Tom Buckbee is a less bolder font and that's left more bold. Opportunity here where you could use bolding. What do you want to tell me here? It's an outdoor apparel company that creates classic designs, long-lasting function above everything else. They cater to a market that's willing to spend more money to have a long-lasting, reliable product. It's almost like you're saying the same thing twice, right? It's a company that creates long-lasting function above everything else. They sell to people who value long-lasting function above everything else. So maybe there's a way to make that one statement instead of 2 sentences. Also, is it possible to get the same spacing there as there is there? I do see like this hexagonal pattern in the background, but maybe knock it back a little bit. Therefore, okay, I got it, man. I almost want like that to be a big sentence, because like it goes back to the question, why? Why are you making these things? It is to also communicate brand value and like authenticity, yes, but quality. So maybe you integrate some of those words in. I don't read this. I see Tom Buckbee. I really don't need to see it. I'd rather that be one big statement to reinforce the brand through simple graphic design, clever communication. I can see what you're doing here, but why? Why do you think it is important to do these live tracings of these garments? Why'd you pick that direction? Because it's not so much a concept development, because you have this one concept, you add call outs, and then it's a day. So what type of your skill sets are you trying to show me? And you see how this is not really working out so well down here? Where it blends. I'd rather you scoot that up. It's almost like this grid is starting to fight you more. That's why I suggest knocking it back some. That turtle shell pattern. In terms of concept exploration, you just change colors of the lines. Still need some more reasoning behind why did you choose to have an image of the garment on the tag. The Blakely jacket, the Tinsall jacket, the Kingsman jacket. I think this is interesting, right? You showed me these before, so that's really nothing new. How can you rule of thirds on this page? Maybe jacket, 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 and then bring this to the next page, because, that's what you're trying to communicate is the guarantee. It's yes, it is a product. It is the garment. But most importantly, it is this statement that needs to be communicated above all else. So maybe there's a development behind that. Maybe you explain why it's so important to have this on each and every jacket. But I think it's more important to show that off than to have it in a set of 1 of 4. I think we've got to fix this image. It feels like it's supposed to be read vertically and it's being read horizontally. That guy works really nice. I'd rather see just this and then a statement. See if you could wordsmith that, make it a little bit not smaller but more brief. And then that guy. I would also see if you can go like more full bleed instead of taking up the entire space. Yes, let's talk about these backpacks you said. As a parent, I'm always critical of when a non-parent is telling me how to be a parent. So just keep in mind, not all designers are going to have that, but I'm assuming most designers have kids or have nephews, so they have some type of integration with it. So you got to approach it a bit more gently. This is an example of pixelation. That shouldn't look like the way it is. So either A, find a better one, or B, vector it yourself. That way it doesn't look lazy. Same thing with Nanny Connie. It's a bit pixelated. And there's got to be a better way to talk about Nanny Connie. Let's see. You just had it around the edges. My suggestion, let's not round the edges, because every time you round the edge, it means you always have to round the edge, and later in the project you aren't. So it's just easy. It doesn't really benefit you a bunch. So just don't round them off. That way you never have to round them off, because I don't know if it's going to benefit you that much. Oh, okay. Here's the problem. This is supposed to be a spread connected with this. And additionally, seems to be a lot of like white space and a bunch of paragraphs. I'm not going to read paragraphs. All I read is Nanny Connie, 30 years, university ID program, product line to life. That totally leaves out the why. Why is she getting into the industry? Why does she have credibility? And here we go. Alignment issues. That works. These are shifted over. I don't know why. This spacing is that spacing, but this spacing is different. I don't know. It just bugs me how these, like, they're almost placed correctly, but not quite. Countless love is the problem. Yes, it can be stressful. Bold parent, stressful. We got it. Needs to relieve some of the burden. Let me read this, see if it offends me. The parent bag needs to be able to relieve some of the burden off the parent so they can just focus on being a parent. Are we saying children are burdens? I know you're not trying to say that, but does it come across that way? Yes, it can be stressful. Being a caregiver can be stressful. So maybe instead of parent, using caregiver in there. You can say it's a full-time job. You can say it's draining. I think we all agree with that. But maybe not burden. I think if you were to print this page out, you'd be like, ugh. Just looking at your line weight up until this point, it's like it's super thick, and I'm gonna use the word gaudy because I kind of want to. So knock these back where they're more, not delicate, but they feel normal on the page. We know this. I'd be interested to know if you did like some type of chart, what items need to be in, like what's the most important, what's the second most important, what's the third. That way you can kind of prioritize the spacing and the volume in the bag. What do you think, Mr. Van? What do you think, David Stewart? I need some reinforcement. Talked about redoing this. I mean, it's cool that you can swing it around. What's the benefit of swinging it around? Because it's not so much like regular backpacks. You're trying to add a level of functionality and structural stability to the bag that's not already there. Also, is this for left-handed people or right-handed people? What if you could also access the necessities from any garment position? That's not a garment, but any bag position. Because that way you can slide off left, you can slide off right, you can take it totally off your bag and hold this handle without putting it down. Exploration. It works. What I'd like to see is the one you went with over here. And you don't really have to, you don't have to tell me exploration if you don't want to, because I get it. I'm trying to figure out where all these pieces fit inside. Do they attach to the external? Is it like molly webbing that the military uses? It seems like you got a system going in here. I just don't know how your system works. Right, you already told me that though. So you told me it here, and you told me it here. I don't mind it being a good idea, but it better be here. It better be improved here, because I don't really see an improvement there yet. You know, if I'm walking through a China shop with this backpack, I'm gonna get in trouble. So, to better understand volume and secure essential items, all right, to-go bag attachments reveal that a new way of opening needs to be explored. So many steos were required to unattach bag. Also, I would check the size of your font. Like, I don't know how big this thing is going to be, but I'm going to guess your font size is up in the 30. And if you print it out, you go, ugh, yeah, it's too big. So let's see if we can be a bit more delicate and designery and restrained with this size that you're using. I think your third time. I mean, you're showing me this in real life, but I haven't seen how your solution improves, and you haven't really communicated that effectively yet. This is like an add-on. All right, cool. You gave me a small packet. I can maybe put 2 snacks in here. I think maybe what this is lacking is what are the necessary items that need to go into the bag, which ones need to be most accessible the quickest, and then tell me where they go. Because you already shown me this image. Well, where's Lee at? There, and she's holding it there. So it sounds like, so why are you showing me this without really explaining to me that the color items can be easily spotted? All right, contrast is good, but I'm just not convinced that just changing the color of the interior is a really big development. All right, things to work on conceptually. This thing, just explaining it further. Like, you know why you do them, I don't. Danny Tran, let me make sure you didn't post one later. I think we talked about it, but at this point, I don't remember. It's a long day. Nope. Made it up. All right. We talked about this in the office, so I'm not going to give you a terrible... Yeah, we talked about all this in the office, so you know what to do about it. All right, Natalie, pixelation, also next version. It feels like maybe these should go together. When I'm reading through goal, focus, and then I read your headings, is there any way to have the goal either be more direct or give me some keywords? Is there any reason for this blue box? All right, so you've added some things. This page is way too full, and the text isn't done very tastefully, designery. What's the problem? What were you asked to do? You can't show me initial sketches, the final sketches on one page either. Like, there's seems to be no exploration. Like, your first idea is your best idea. Typically it's not. Retail ready, untapped areas. I'd rather you do one page, retail ready. Next, well, actually do everything retail ready first, which will be Old Spice, the 3-4 images. And then untapped areas, which means you want to focus on this, and maybe give me a graphic focusing on two things. Retail ready was an example. Untapped area, question mark sketch, something that tells me it's a two-part project. And I haven't read this because I'm not going to read this information. I'm just looking for the highest bits of information. So why is this an untapped area? Context throws me off here. I don't know, just hard for me to buy why is this an untapped, why this is better than the current solution. Looks cool, say that for the last bit. I don't read any of this. All I see is that on a shelf. All right, cool. Were you able to accomplish what you're supposed to accomplish? I don't know. I don't know what the problem was. Then this guy, it's severely, how about not severely? It is sizably scaled down. And I'm okay with this idea, right? You have these pillars anyways, so why not adapt the packaging to the pillar? And it's an impulse buy, so I'm cool with that. Profit 158, 5%. You know I'm not going to read that. And let's not mess up. Well, is this pixelated? No, I think you're good. This one, no. Do our logo instead of a hybridized logo. All right. Can we name the chair instead of saying study chair design workshop? Because I mean, later on you can tell me that it's a chair for studying, but this kind of tells me everything I need to know. But it's a bit lacking of, I don't imagine it. I really don't. The title of it doesn't make me want to read. So could you give the name to a chair, make it a bit more mysterious? Then give me some insights. Summer design workshop. This how many weeks? Individual led project, group led project, something to that effect. Let me take a quick look through this. On some of these, just do full bleed, right? Bleed that to the edge. Your hero shot, bleed it to the edge. You got to get rid of this line. First thing, and I see these are vertical lines. Sketch to ideation phase. Well, what are you doing first? Why are you doing a study chair opposed to a cafe chair or a lounge chair, right? So give me a little context. Why are you doing what you're doing? Who are you working with? I think you're working with a prestigious Irish designer. Why? Is that significant to the story at all? I don't know. Depends on how you want to sell it. Also, like, what are you going for? If you're just drawing shapes, it's like, all right, cool, you did shapes. But if you're going for more of a function, then I want to know some thought. I want some call outs. This is what I'm going for. And, this idea had this positive quality. This one had this negative quality. I'm staying away from it. But just by giving me shapes and a final one, it's a bit hard to understand your process. It's possible, but it'd help if you were more explicit. And let's see, are we spreads? It doesn't. It seems like everything's a one-up. So are these 2 pages of process? Also, maybe if you categorize these things, it would be helpful. Like you're investigating one type of chair and investigating a second type of chair, third and fourth. That'd help me understand it better. This has got to get fixed up, right? Because I mean, if I'm looking at the other ones, rendered, bottom left rendered, this one's not, so it feels out of place. Don't tell me what you did. Tell me what you learned from what you did. I love small models. I just don't like the way you photograph them. It makes you feel like you don't really care about them. Yes, you're learning these things, but more specifically, you learn the proportions. In sketch form, the proportions work, but in 3D it didn't. Therefore, you have to shorten up the leg width. That could be a good insight, other than just saying, hey, you studied them. What did you learn from them? And just that one's acceptable. The rest of them, in my opinion, at this point are unacceptable, right? Background, weird angle, zoom out. Also, let's see, are you pursuing 3 concepts or 4? Here it looks like you're pursuing 4 or 5 concepts. Here it looks like you're pursuing 4 concepts. And then we get here, you're pursuing 3 concepts. Second, like, I know we can't go, well, if you have the models, you can go back and photograph. But you've got to reimagine how you're going to do this. Right? I see duct tape. This one I don't mind as much. The background could be filtered out. But for these, they're just images. They're not really showing off anything. I don't mind how you do model 1, model 2, model 3. I wish you would introduce that idea earlier. Also, can we knock that back a little bit? Right now it's pretty bold. I'd rather go to a regular, maybe in a, not italic, but more of a light font. It seems a bit too bold in its current rendition. Also, be consistent with your spacing, right? I'd rather you come down 1/8 inch, come out an 1/8 inch. But right now you're kind of bouncing around in the way you're using it. Shoot. Advice on this. Same thing I said to Ada. If you can't get any of the photos, I could suggest doing line drawings and then render them. Because right now the actual models, it's difficult for me to appreciate them because of what's all going on in the photos. Gotta be honest. I don't care anything about this page. I'm not reading a paragraph. I see its final rendition, and then you show me it before. That's an after. That feels misplaced. You have these legs, which looks like you harvested for somebody else. I don't really care that you harvested. I care that if it's right, then it matches your sketches and your original intent, which I really don't know which one you're going with until you jump into this guy. Don't care about the hardware. I don't care these are perspective. I don't care these are orthographic. That's not really relevant to the story. What I'm caring about is communicating the solution well. I'd keep this one and maybe those two. Those two I think are the most interesting. Blow it up. You have a lot of white balance issue, right? You say you got some greens, you got some purples, you got some reds. The background should be one consistent, should be a gray, but right now it has like a bunch of tones to it. And then tell me through callouts, what are the benefits of this prototype? Or what would you change between this version and the next version? Chair in use, cool, do a chair in use. Hero shot, it's a boring hero shot. I don't mind a plain background. The background allows you to pull off and talk about the benefits. So this is more technical benefits. This is more emotional benefit, maybe. But I think there's lots needs to be done on this project. Okay, got it. Like the depth of field. I will continue reading. Let's not go italic. Keep it like primary, secondary, tertiary, but not do italic. Background. I stop at 285 million people. The rest needs some other keyword to tie this in. I'm assuming it has to do with vision. Probably right. Mobility, okay. People, pedestrians, cars, cane, out in visual impairment, I think is another one to pull here. Public transportation is difficult and requires memorization. Getting there. All right, keep in mind, you talked about transportation and visual. When I go to this next one, it looks more like it's fitness or recreation, but this is talking about mobility. So help me make the connection between these two. Existing technology, maybe bringing the word existing and technology slightly more together. I don't mind that dog ear, just, be consistent with it, don't just do it once. Let's see if I can pull. Goodness, I gotta pull something out of that memory bank. It's like a 1.5 years old. Let's see if we can do it. Seymour Powell, English design firm. I saw it in a presentation. I don't know if they're gonna have it. Online. No. Not necessarily the product that I was hunting for. Because it fills with all those different types of tech. You're telling multiple stories instead of a singular one, which would be easier to follow. All right, what I'm hunting for is they used a VR headset. They hacked it so this kid with visual impairment could actually see the world more normally. Typically, you have to zoom in really close. All right, let's get back. Or you can be more explicit with the individual ones. How do these things help? Maybe, where could you put some text? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1. What benefit? 2, what benefit? 3, what benefit? I like this idea of Best Buy versus Banana Republic, but it's going to be lost because I'm going to read the bold things and omit the other stuff unless I really want to come back. Human body. Oh, human body needs to be resketched, which isn't that difficult. It looks like most of your, hey, get out of here. It looks like most of your concepts are in perspective. It's just you need to get a human, take a picture of them, outline the profile, and then superimpose that image over a correct human scale. Also, what are you trying to solve? Because we go from different types of tech to all vision tech. So that's visual. These aren't visual currently. Help me get to this next stage. Bone conducting headphones. Okay. Same thing. Human scale. Also, it's just at this point it's too much. I'm not going to read that. I wonder if you could have like an introduction statement here and then a closing statement here. Still very brief, and to be able to do more than, because I'm not going to read it. So there's any other way you could package that information differently. What'd you learn from rapid prototyping? Scale, proportions, conceptual, internal components. Add. I'd rather turn this into an aha moment. That needs to be pulled together a little bit, so rapid needs to come down. But you learned that your early iterations didn't compensate for current wiring, sensors, processors. Could be. Not bad. Lighten the leaders up a little bit, and let's reduce these numbers and these numbers. Instead of 100% black, maybe 80% black, because I want that to be primary, and the numbers are starting to fight for prominence. You see how this is miscentered? So highlights is a little bit to the right of that information. And go back to earlier statement. When are you using italics? Feels like never. So let's not start there. Good. Like the page, like the dog the dog ear. Other than being pixelated, I think it's effective. What other negative experiences? Sleek and comfortable? If that's the case, if that's really what you're going for, I want this person talking to another group of people in a group smiling as if, they aren't visual impaired. Ideally, that's what I want based upon what I perceive as negative experiences. I do like that photo. I'd bring in some type of the green, because green has kind of defined the product all the way through. And then here it doesn't. So how can we do that? Even it's subtle, like these little echolocation bars, reminds me of the function. Talk to Miss Ada during class. Let me get a sip of my tea. Delicious. All right, another round of this. All right, let me think. I think these are one-ups. See your horizontal spacing and your vertical spacing. Try to keep them similar. And do you need that vertical line? Yes, it might have some graphic benefits, but I wonder if you just take the ease and let's get rid of that hyphenation and left align it right here where that line is, would it look better? Just curious. What's up with this line? It seems like sometimes it's in the background, right? Sometimes it's in the foreground. I say get rid of it. Also, most of these sketches are too small for me to say, oh, I understand what you're doing. So, is it because my screen is small? It's probably not the case. Is it because you used... What's this? Are these... I keep on like, are these spreads? Because it is really horizontal. It's not... It's almost like a 2-to-1 ratio, right? So I'd rather you show less, bigger, so I understand it instead of not being understand the volume. Poultice patch. So what are we trying to solve? Customize, educate, convenience. What is botanic? Maybe it's botanic 12-week project to explore launching a natural goods remedy line, something like that. Give me a little bit more context. I'm assuming this is what it is. I don't want to assume. I want you to be explicit. So that when I go to here, I'm like, okay, now that I know she's exploring the graphical elements and interaction for a all-natural or botanicals line, you want that line to be customizable, educational, convenient, accessible. Got it. Okay, so this is how you're achieving it. That's the part that I'm missing. You made different forms. Congratulations. Why did you make the forms? What ones were more successful than the other ones, and why? Testing the portable diffuser. No, you're not. It's a form study. It's does it travel well? Is volume appropriate for an on-the-go lifestyle? It's almost like, don't tell me what you're doing, show me. You're showing me, but you're not telling me correctly. The products, these three things. These three things of Orient are... Okay. The Poultice patch. I don't know what it is. It could be that thing from the Hunger Games. It could be like putting drugs directly on your skin. I don't know. I'm ignorant. Sip of tea. Turn my headphones up. The herb grinder we talked about earlier. Okay, portable, Poultice, herb grinder. This one should be portable. That one should be Poultice. Did you even talk about portable? We got a problem. Take the lid off, you put the things in there, you spin it. Alright, I get the process. Can we get the white balance working here? So like that one's mostly white, purple, purple, white, purple. It might be as good as it gets. It's just a little bit distracting. Okay. So why do I want to customize an herbal package? Once again, if you unpack it here, I'll understand and appreciate your solution better as we go through it. I lose a little bit of Auburn there. Taiwan Study Abroad Program. Also, see that border around your blue block? Get rid of that border. How can we be more brief? to experience a multicultural environment, to work collaboratively with a group. I'm getting too much. To work collaboratively with an international group of designers to produce a manufactured product. Theme together. I'd like a little bit more explanation on together. Challenge, aging. What's up with this text? Everything feels gray. I think that could be black. That could be black. And the other ones could work, but having everything gray, my eyes are like, what's wrong? That's alright. Get rid of the hyphenization. See if you can drop that down to 3 lines instead of 4. I read through this, but I never really get to the bonus. I'm still struggling with that page. I don't exactly know what's wrong with it. Man, I might just hate that page too. And the reason why I think I hate it is because we're talking about togetherness, loneliness, just the difficulties in growing up, and this is focused more on beauty. So what I'd rather see is a grandma having fun with the kids. That's, instead of your challenge, that's your goal. Kind of starts it off on a better tone. I hate drop shadows. They rarely pan out to anything. We'll see how this pans out. Maybe this is a project where you're not really including any research, and that's why you've only given me headers. Because I'm interested. Okay, you tell me you've researched ergonomics. I want to see how you employed it. Or massage and pressure points, or safety guidelines. I'd rather that be big because that tells me what's going on. Don't really care about group meetings. You already told me earlier it's group meetings. Unless something came from a group meeting that's very groundbreaking, I don't really care as much. As long as you give credit to things that aren't done by you. And then the mind mapping, it'd have to be reformatted. I think it's kind of ugly and there's no hierarchy to it. So, in conclusion, storyboarding, yes, show that big. Mind mapping, as long as it makes sense, because right now, just what can I draw? Like, what should I know about the process from this? Foreign development, it's all gray. For some reason, I don't want to look at any of it. It's difficult to look at. I don't want to focus on. Hyphenization. I don't know what your initial direction was because you didn't really explain the concept. Park bench, safety, family. Don't really know. Bad sketches. Cool, great, you find it, but I still don't understand what the original one was. What were you trying to accomplish? How do you explore and adventure around with it? What led you to boom? And then from that, what needed to be refined? Not really sure. I can't believe you put a piece of playground equipment in a monochromatic playground. Is there anything more depressing? I don't know. if you can, say that more brief. Because once I see, man, 8 lines down, I'm like, nah, too much work. Manufacturable spring base. Is that really the benefit? I mean, if I go back to the things you said you wanted to work on, which was massage, struggles, ergonomics, and playground guidelines, were you able to meet those? How do we make these pages work together? Because it feels like a left side and a right side. Maybe move that bottom left corner, move it over to the center some, fade that gradient out. That way it blends perfectly instead of me seeing lines. And then playground equipment should be played with. How are we doing? All right, 1 or 2 more and then I'll pause it. Personal project or group project? How many weeks? Come back. All right, use a margin. I'm cool with that. You see how fast you're moving, how far you're moving into your margins? Be consistent, because it feels like these are equally spaced. Good. That one's a bit higher than it should be. Try to be consistent. Workforce trends. 180K more jobs. That many more vaccines. -2 participation rate. I really don't know what you're fixing right now. Companies are desperate for new talent. What type of companies? Site visits. Right, I don't want to zoom in. Not if I don't have to, but this is too small for me to read. Current methods. I'm assuming this is a sequence of use. I like this page. I like the use of yellow, bringing my attention around. It's a bit much of text, but it doesn't bother me because the hierarchy is being managed well. Not done here. Not done here. Not done here. Cool shots at the end. Changing. All right. This one underperformed last time. Let's see what changes you made. Hello, William. Don't really care about the first bit of information. He honored with this amputation. What is that amputation? Good. This is confusing. He has a customized fitting prosthetic, but needs to replace every 6 months, even 3 in a calendar year. Is it every 6 months, which is 2 in a calendar year? This is confusing. Since he is growing, the length and diameter of his legs changes a lot. How about it changes frequently? You get it, kids grow. Challenge. Why is there an ocean back there? If we're talking about prosthetics and we're talking about a young kid being active, show those things. Don't care, not going to read it. That's like a light stand. That's not a human. That helps, but I don't really, this is not research. I mean, these are just facts. He's that tall. What are the seat? Why does he need a seat? Sorry, I've already gotten irritated, but why? Visually, you need to communicate why he needs a seat. Is it 1 amputation or 2 amputations? Above the knee or below the knee? It makes a difference. So why does he need a chair? Visually, show me. Because you jump into sketches and I don't even know what's good about some of these, what's bad about some of these. And then in terms of just sketching, I'm looking through your perspective. This has no thickness. Why not? And do we need a scale for human chairs? Are they made for, your typical human, or are they downsized for William? I don't know. I never want to see these numbers. I want to see a person sitting in it, and then you use a silhouette, a lightened silhouette, kind of like a ghost, to give me context. If you give it for that side profile, it's not going to be that obtrusive, and you won't have to repeat it on this other one because I can see through a front view, side view, that these two go together. Leg plus base. Why? Like, look how much space you on your page, and you're only using like a third of it. Why does somebody need to assemble it? Does it have to be flat packed? You stain it and then you put coasters. I don't care. Anybody can do that. I don't need to see that process. All right, another great question. Why is it being used in the bathroom? Why does he need a shower chair? I don't know. This is a great opportunity to explain your benefits. So like, it makes it probably the best page that you have so far. Jenny, I'm really lost. Like, I don't understand the purpose, and I'm not going to stop and read 2 giant paragraphs to try to figure out what your purpose is. I need to be explained visually that we can quickly absorb it and decide if I want to read into this project. Right now, the answer is no. Also, like, why does he need a chair? Is it for independence? You have a good opportunity to drop like a statement from William. This allows me to live more independently and take pressure on my parents. That could be a good goal. Also, why is showering an issue? I don't know that yet. All right, I'm going to stop this and make another.